There he is.
How we doing?
Hey, good, Hunter. How are you, man?
Doing good.
Can you hear me all right?
Yeah.
All right, sweet, man. Thanks for joining us. I'll just give everybody a heads up why we wanted to chat with you. And that I think you and I met at a play event when you had first come up with the Royals. And
Yeah.
yeah, and you've been supportive ever since. So we wanted to hang out with you. Appreciate you spending some time with us. How's everybody at the Dozier household? You guys safe and well?
Yeah, we're doing good. Staying home. It's been good just being around the kids a lot. I'm not used to this time. Definitely during this part of the year, but we're getting a lot of good family time in, so that's definitely a blessing out of all this.
Yeah, no, that's the weird thing for you guys, right? It's like this time of year, you would well, first off, we wouldn't be doing something like this normally this time of year, but then back home, your family's like, wow, this is this is nice, huh? 24/7 of Hunter.
Yeah, it's crazy,
Well,
but it's fun.
you got little ones too, right?
Yeah, so we have a 2.5-year-old boy and then a 10-month-old girl.
Oh, wow. So
Yeah, so
keeping them occupied is a full time job right now, huh?
oh yeah, for sure. They're nonstop, but it's like I said, it's a lot of fun right now.
Yeah, no, it's a blessing how that all kind of worked out. So awesome, man. Well, appreciate you coming and spending some time with us. I was giving our listeners a little bit of background on why we wanted to talk with you, but to give some of your followers some background on us that may not know too much about the Taylor Hooten Foundation, I wanted to kind of give them a little bit of summary on us and how we got connected with you. So for you guys that may follow Hunter, may not know too much about us and the Taylor Hooten Foundation, I'm Brian Parker. I'm the Director of Education for the foundation, and we are a nonprofit that educates about appearance and performance enhancing substances. So we go around the country, we speak to students, coaches, teachers, all about dietary supplements, HGH, anabolic steroids, stuff like that. We do that because the Hooten family that's hanging out with us, but that I've worked with from day one, they lost their youngest son due to anabolic steroid use. So he was a high school baseball player, actually, that got involved with this stuff, didn't have the education that a lot of us have now, ultimately ended up losing his own life as a result. And so that was back in the early 2000s. So we put this together about a year after. We've been educating people for going on about 17 years now. So the education's been out there for a while for us, but a few years ago, we wanted to take it a step further, and we wanted to not just educate people, but also inspire people to achieve their goals the right way. I think those two things go hand in hand. So we partnered up with Major League Baseball, who's been a really big partner of us for a long time now. And we said, look, we want to put together a group of role models that to show young people that they made it to the top of their game, they reached their goal and they did it the right way, right? So instead of us talking about the guys that get caught, let's talk about the majority of guys doing the right thing. So we put together the All Me Advisory League that we've had guys step up. We've talked with every team. I think last year we had 40 guys on the board. Everybody stepped up on the road and said, look, I want to join this mission. I believe in what's this education all about. And the exciting announcement is talking with you is that you just agreed to be our newest All Me League member, our newest advisory board member. So this is the first time we've told anybody about that. So you've been a supporter, but now you've made it official. So thank you for that support. And just to let our listeners know, why is that something that was important to you? Why did you want to get involved with this?
Yeah, well, I'm excited. I think you guys do a great job. When I think about when I was growing up, like in high school, I didn't know anything about supplements. I didn't know what was good, what was bad, what to stay away from, and there was just no education. Like our football coaches just told us like, "Hey, work out, take stuff," like, and that was kind of it. Like I didn't know what I was putting in my body. Luckily, nothing harmful.
Right.
Um, but yeah, so I think it's really important to teach kids the right way to take supplements, staying healthy and everything that you guys support. So I think it's awesome. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, we're excited as well because hearing that from someone like you goes a long way. I mean, I tell people every day, all day, because that's my job, right? But when they hear it from someone like you, and that's literally someone that they can look up to and say, okay, this is possible. I mean, because Hunter's doing it, I can do the same thing. When we can team up like that, I think that goes a really long way. So again, thanks for the support. It's really cool. We're happy to have you on board. So now that we've kind of talked about why we're connected and how we got connected, let's give all of our viewers kind of some background on you, because I want to kind of dive into your like baseball career and what you're doing and stuff like that now, so we can
Yeah.
kind of, I guess, start at the beginning a little bit. So back in the day, was baseball always the main interest? I know you've played a bunch of different sports growing up and even into high school. So when did like when did baseball become the it? When did that kick in for you?
I think baseball became my number one sport in college.
Okay, so not high school.
Um, yeah, no. So in high school, I played football, baseball. I was quarterback, and being in Texas, I mean, football is number one.
Sure.
Um, it's even during spring football when it was baseball season, football came first, and we were just doing spring games. That's just kind of how it is in Texas.
Yep.
But growing up before that, I played baseball, football, basketball, ice hockey. Ice hockey was my favorite sport growing up. I know in Texas, but
That's
I
right.
fell in love with it. Yeah, I fell in love with it. We traveled around a lot. We would go up to Vancouver for tournaments. So I would say hockey was my number one sport growing up, and then I kind of had to make a decision as I was getting closer to high school. Do I focus just on hockey, or do I play all the other Texas sports like baseball, basketball, football? Um, so I mean, I'll choose three sports over one, and ended up working out. But yeah, I don't think baseball became my number one until college, because that's when I really focused just on baseball, and that's when I grew a lot too. I was able to put a lot of time in, work really hard just on one sport, which I've never done before. It's
Right.
always been kind of over two, three, four sports. So yeah, I think that's why I grew so much and got so much better in college because of that.
Yeah, well, they say it's like super beneficial to play multiple sports when you're younger. I think you learn a lot of different skills that you're probably using now that you may not have had if you had played sports like hockey and football and stuff. So did you want to play college football, or did you want to play? Did you decide, okay, baseball's the better path for me? I'm going to go with that, because I know you played at Stephen F. Austin, right? So you
Yeah.
stayed fairly close to home. Were there other schools calling, or did you want to stay in Texas?
Well, for baseball, that was my only offer.
Okay,
And then football, I had some smaller D1s looking at me too. But I loved football so much, but I had a rough go around in high school. I started at varsity at quarterback for like 2.5, 3 years, and we only won one game. Um,
better than
yeah,
none.
yeah, it is. But they opened up a new high school, and they allowed free transfers, so everyone went to the new high school, and we kind of got left with, really, our numbers were really low.
Sure.
But I loved it. I mean, I learned so much from playing football. But when I decided just to focus on baseball, I had a really bad injury my junior year in football. Shattered my collarbone, and I was out all my junior year of baseball. And so, yeah, from there, I played my senior year in football and baseball, and I decided going in my senior year that I was going to focus more on baseball. And after high school, I was going to go to Stephen F. Austin and play
Right.
baseball.
Yeah, well, there's probably a lot of schools that regretted not giving you offer, because you had a pretty good career at Stephen F. Austin from what I saw. I know you're conference player of the year, and then you end up getting drafted, what, 2013? So around that
Eight.
time. Yeah, eighth overall,
Oh yeah,
right?
2013. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, eighth
2013 you
overall.
got drafted, and you were the eighth overall pick. So obviously something went right when you started picking up baseball and things went well. And I assume if you went eighth overall, you knew you were getting drafted. So take me back to that day. Like, how did that day go? Was it still pretty surreal? Did you know that the Royals were going to be the one taking you at that time?
Yeah, so that day was awesome. I wasn't 100% sure I was going in the first day. I had a good feeling I was. My agent was communicating well with me, and we knew teams were really looking at me. The Royals were definitely the top team that was most interested. And yeah, so we were at my parents' house, and we just had our family over, some really close friends over, and we just kind of threw like a little draft party. Um, I was so nervous for the day, but
Yeah.
I'm glad all my family was there. And yeah, it was kind of a hectic day. The Royals were trying to get me to get pushed back to a later pick in the first round. But there was teams saying that, they were going to draft me before that pick. So, and they knew I was going to sign. So there was a lot of like confusion there, and like didn't know exactly where I was going to go. And it just kind of happened. That eighth pick came out. I think the Royals, who they really wanted, was like maybe a high school pitcher, and he
Yeah.
got drafted like right before me, and I believe. And all of a sudden, my phone rings, and it's my agent, and he was like, they're looking at taking you right here at 8. would you want to do that? And I'm like, well, yeah, absolutely.
I'm not saying no to that.
And yeah, and he was like, okay, well, I'll call you back if we get the deal done. And he never calls me back. So I'm telling my family, I'm like, okay, it must have fell through, or they went a different route. Well, so we go inside and watching TV, and they ended up calling my name, and it was, I think the coolest thing for me was just seeing my family's reaction, like seeing my dad and my mom cry, and hugging my girlfriend, who's now my wife, my grandparents, just seeing all their reactions and how happy they were was so much cooler than getting drafted eighth overall for me. It
Sure.
was seeing their reactions, and yeah, it was awesome.
Yeah, well, it's the people that put in the time and sacrifices growing up to get you there, right?
Yeah,
That's as good a feeling as what you're feeling. It's just seeing
yeah,
them. So, yeah, I can imagine that kind of day. It's just got to be surreal and exciting, all wrapped into one. So, yeah, that's pretty cool. Eight overall, congratulations. So, it worked out for the Royals. Obviously, your career's going pretty well right now. But I'm curious about before that started taking off. I'm curious about your like minor league time, if how that went for you, because I told some of our listeners I was talking with Jared Hughes on here last week, and I let them know that I used to work in the minor league. So before I started doing what I'm doing now, I worked for a couple different teams in the minors, so I know that lifestyle pretty well. And I know that it's not the most glamorous one at times. So after you got drafted and you went into the minors, what was that like? Did you like that? Did you embrace that, or were you like, no, I'm getting out of here as soon as I possibly can?
yeah. So when you first get drafted, the minor leagues are awesome. For me, I'm coming from Stephen F. Austin. We didn't have the facilities that TCU or Longhorns have. So it was a step up for me. And it was just a whole, like, I was off on my own almost in college, but I was getting paid to do it now, and it was awesome. But it definitely becomes a grind, and I think as you go through the minor leagues, as you're going through it, you're like, man, this is tough. Like you're not getting paid very well, like long bus trips, crappy hotels, not great food. But like the guys that you go through that with, like they're some of my best friends still to this
Yeah,
day. And some of them I'm playing in the big leagues with now, and it makes that connection even stronger because of stuff we went through. But so I think as you go through the minor leagues, like it's tough. You're like, man, I want to get out of this. I want to get called up. This, this sucks at
right.
times. But then when I look back at it, I'm like, man, that's some of the most fun I've had. And you have so many cool stories.
Oh yeah.
And I mean, most of those stories are like buses breaking down in the middle of the night or just random stuff. But as you go through it, it sucks. But now looking back, it's so funny and it's just great stories. So I mean, it's definitely a grind, but you learn a lot and you do have a lot of fun.
Yeah, it's funny because Jared said the exact same thing on Friday, right? Like it can be a grind, but he was like, man, some of my best buddies like are still from when I played in the minor. In fact, a bunch of them were like joining the chat that we were having that he hadn't connected with in a while. So I'm with you, man. It was like the hours and all that stuff were kind of brutal on my side, but like it's a family atmosphere, right? It's almost
Yeah,
you're all in this together. You all got the same
yeah,
goal, so you
for
kind of
sure.
stick with it. And I'm also curious, like, because you got drafted as a shortstop, correct?
Yep.
Yeah. So, and most people know you as third baseman now. So, did that transition happen in the minors? When did that start to take place?
Yeah, so I kind of knew before going in the draft that I was probably some teams wanted to draft me as shortstop, some teams wanted to push me to third, maybe outfield. Um, but the Royals said, okay, we're going to draft you at short. We're probably going to move you over to third.
Right.
But so I kind of had that feeling I was going to eventually go over there. But they let me play probably about half a season right when I first got drafted. Um, and then when I got called up during that first year, we had Mondesi, our shortstop now, playing. And right when I saw him play, I'm like, okay, yeah, I'll go over to third. I'll let him do that.
I'll take the easier path, right?
Yeah.
Do you miss playing shortstop? Did you want to stay at shortstop, or is it's all the same to you? It's not a huge deal.
I mean, my biggest thing is I want to hit, but I did love shortstop because that's the only position I really ever played. But I knew that I wasn't good enough to be a big league shortstop. After watching Mondesi play that
Yeah.
position, I'm like, okay, I need to go third or go outfield or somewhere else and let those guys because those guys are unreal.
Yeah. Well, now isn't there talk now that you may play outfield next year? There might be or this year, whenever we come back to play, right?
Yeah.
There might be another transition in your future. Is that true? Are you cool with
Yeah.
that if you go out that way?
Yeah. So during spring, I was playing only right and left field, majority right. I think I'm going to be the everyday right fielder to start off. And I'm enjoying that because it almost reminds me of shortstop. I feel more athletic out there. I can kind of roam. Where at third, I kind of just, you really just stay in one spot and it's all reaction. And
Yeah.
you either field the ball or it gets past you. I'm enjoying my time in the outfield right now.
Yeah. Yeah, you got more room to roam as well. So
Yeah.
that's cool. Well, let's transition out of like the minors and all that kind of stuff, like into your current MLB days. So take me back to the time when you got called up. I want to say it was like 2016, a few years after you
Yep.
got drafted, right? So do you remember call up day? Do you remember first at bat? Like what's going through your mind? You remember who you faced, all that kind of stuff?
Yeah. So it was in September, and when they do September call-ups in 2016, and I was having a really good year, and I had a pretty good feeling I was going to get called up because I, I I think it was my 40-man year. It might have not been, but yeah. So I ended up getting called up. My wife was with me. I was, so excited. My family came up. But I didn't end up. The Royals. We were still in the playoff push. So I didn't end up making my debut for like 2 weeks.
Oh,
Um,
that's torture.
yeah, I know. So I got called up and I kind of just sat around and I was thinking every day. I was like, okay, this is the day I'm gonna,
Right.
make my major league debut. And it just took a while. And I remember when I finally got in, we were getting beat pretty bad by the Oakland A's, and they put me in right field, and it was the end of the game. And I remember getting my first AB. I ended up striking out. It was actually against my buddy Zach Neal, and but yeah, I mean it was really cool because I got a good ovation when I came up, and even after I struck out, they were standing ovation. It was really cool.
Yeah.
And but the bad thing, since it took 2 weeks for me to make my debut, no, like my family wasn't there, my wife wasn't there. Like they all had to go back home and work.
Right. You
Uh,
can't sit here for 2 weeks and hope that you.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they missed out on that. But other than that, it was. I mean, any major league debut story is really cool.
Does your buddy Zach hold that over your head even still today that he struck you out on your first bat?
Yeah, he'll bring it up every now and then when I see him. Yeah.
Who did you get your first hit off? Do you remember that?
Yeah, I think it was a couple. I don't think I played the next day, and then the following day, it was kind of same situation. We were getting beat pretty bad, and then I came in the game. I think it was Overton, left-handed reliever for Oakland that I faced in the minor leagues, and I got a double off the left field wall.
Nice. Monkey
Yeah,
off your back.
yeah, for sure. Yeah, it was
Took some
nice.
time, but it got you there. Well, look, it's all kind of worked, right? Because last year, I mean, I would kind of call it your breakout year, right? I mean, what 280,
Yeah.
26 bombs, right? Like starting every day. So, what was there something last year that like clicked for you, or was it just like, look, I've spent my time in the majors, I've been around here enough, like I've got this development, or like something just kind of clicked in, or was it just a combination of both?
I think it was. So when I got called up, well, in 2018, in 2017, I was hurt. I missed all year, and that was after 2016 when I got called up.
Right.
So me missing the whole 2017 season, I think kind of delayed like my growth a little bit. And so then when 2018 season came along and I got called up because I started out in AAA, and I was there for a couple weeks and got called up. And I think I put so much pressure on myself, and I was still trying to find like myself again playing wise because I haven't played in so long. It took me a while to do that at the big league level is pretty hard.
Sure.
So it wasn't until about August of 2018 that things started clicking again. I started just not really thinking about the results as much, just really working on like thinking about the process. What can I do? What can I just worry about things I can control. and whatever happens on the field happens. And whenever I started thinking about that, it took pressure off myself, and things started clicking again. And I finished 2018 pretty strong. So I kind of got that confidence to know that I can play at the big league level.
Right.
And then in 2018, I just kind of carried that over. Kind of the same mentality. Don't worry about what happens on the field. If I could control what happens on the field, then, I would hit a home run every time. But
Right.
you can't. So I just worried about things that I could control. I had fun. And yeah, I think I just really just continued having that confidence and the good mindset.
Yeah, it's mindset. You take that pressure off, and you just it's almost like you've developed so much, but then part of you just wants to go back to the days where you weren't thinking about all that, right?
Yeah.
You just let it go, and that
Yeah.
kind of.
And I think the biggest thing, another thing is, in 2018, if I always felt like, okay, well, if I started a game and I didn't get a hit, then I probably wasn't going to play the next day or two.
Right.
Where, when they kind of could see what I could do and I was an everyday player in 2019, then I knew, okay, I could have a couple bad games and I'm still going to be in the lineup. And to kind of have that pressure off my back was huge too.
Yeah, you can have an 0 for 4, and like
Not worry
it's not
about,
the end of the world, right? Because
yeah, for sure.
3 for 4 the next day. So
Yeah.
yeah, no, it's been awesome to see all that kind of come together for you on the field. So outside of like the mindset stuff that we're talking about, what are kind of your other like secret weapons that you use? Like, what's key for you when you play baseball? Is it like routine? Is nutrition a huge thing for you? Is there a certain like workout routine? Like, what are some things that you kind of stick to that help you stay at the top of your game?
Yeah. So, I mean, I've always been a big workout guy, and I've always tried to eat, pretty healthy. And I think during season, I have a really good routine that I've kind of had to learn through over the years. But yeah, I'm a guy that's going to work out 3 to 4 days a week during season, eat healthy, and I feel like I have to do that to keep my body feeling good. I'm a guy that works really hard, so I take a lot of swings in the cages. I listen to my body and stuff, so I can, when I'm feeling good, I can take more swings. If I'm beat up, then I'll take less. But I think I just learned to kind of listen to my body and be able to, if I'm feeling bad or something's not feeling right, then I don't have to take, BP that day. But I still know that even if I didn't take BP, I can still go out there and have a good game. Where a couple of years ago, I would think mentally that I have to hit BP and do everything I can to be ready for that game.
Right.
So I think that's one of the things I've learned, and the mindset of just like I was saying a little bit ago, just not worrying about the results. And yeah, I mean, there's a lot. You learn a lot. I think I've learned more since I've been in the big leagues than I did all throughout the minor leagues. But yeah, it's definitely a grind, and I think 95% of it's mentality.
Sure. Yeah. Another 5% is the stuff you're working on, like you said, eating right.
Yeah.
Out. I mean, what's impressive the most about it, and what's most meaningful to us, is like you're doing it the right way, kind of like we talked at the beginning. So for anybody that's joined since we got started, Hunter and I have been talking because he just joined our All-Me Advisory League. So, he is basically saying he achieved his goals without the stuff he's living and competing PED free. And for us, that means a lot. So reminder to anybody that kind of wants to learn more about the All-Me League and learn more about the Taylor Hooten Foundation, you guys can follow us on Instagram, any of our outlets at the THF. You can go to our website at taylorhooten.org. You can learn more about the work that we do, but also learn about guys like Hunter and all the other guys that are achieving their goals the right way. So we really appreciate that. And if you guys have any questions for Hunter, you can try to throw them up in the chat. I'll try to look through them. I got a few that were sent in before. So we'll kind of get out of your career stuff and ask you some questions on what you're doing now a little bit. So that's really where I want to start. At least I'm curious, what are you doing now while you're at home to like stay prepared, right? Because things could change at any moment. None of us really know what the future holds with a lot of this stuff. If we have a baseball season, if we do, what's it going to look like, right? So you say you're a big workout guy. You watch what you eat. Like, are you still sticking on that at home? Has it been more challenging? Like, how are you staying at the top?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely more challenging when things shut down. I'm fortunate that one of my best friends has a hitting facility right down the road that they've shut down, but he opens it up for me and a couple guys.
Nice.
And that's where we hit in the off season anyway. So baseball wise, I'm still kind of getting everything I need that I would in the off season. So I still feel good baseball wise, workout wise. My original gym shut down, but at the place we hit has a little gym that we can still get, really good workouts in. So honestly, it feels like an off season to me. I
Yeah.
think the hardest part is just not knowing when we're going to start. Like in a typical off season, okay, this is the date I'm leaving for spring training.
Right.
So you have something to work towards. Where right now it's, there's so many things up in the air. Is it going to be in a couple weeks? Is it going to be in June or July, or is the whole thing going to get canceled? So I mean, I feel like that's the toughest part about this whole situation is just not knowing. And because I'm trying to work as hard as I can to stay ready just in case we do get that call. But also not beat myself up because I know when we do come back and play, we're probably going to be playing a lot of games in a short amount of time.
Right.
So still trying to stay fresh. But yeah, it's just like balancing it out. And yeah,
Yeah, it's tough. It's a challenge.
yeah,
Right? I
it
mean,
is.
I know for me, like I'm not a professional athlete, so I don't have to stay in the kind of shape that you do. But even just like nutrition stuff for me is a challenge, right? I feel like bored eating and stress eating and all that stuff is a real thing now. So
Oh yeah,
I know it's tough, especially when you're trying to plan for something that you don't even know what you're planning for yet.
yeah,
I mean, there's been a lot of talk. I was asking a couple other guys about this. There's been a talk like if this season is all being played in Arizona, or let's say there's no fans, like there's lots of different concepts being floated around with that kind of stuff. How does that sit with you? Are you okay with all those kind of options? Would you be, I mean, if there's playing games without fans, are you good with that? I mean, what's your kind of thoughts on that since you'd be in the middle of it?
yeah. I mean, I think first, we want to get back playing. I think it would be good for everyone if if sports got back playing. And I know for us, we want to play. We want to get the season going, and if that means no fans, then at least they can watch it on TV. But I think the biggest thing for us is we want to get back playing and competing again. So first we want to make sure it's the right thing to do. We want to make sure everyone's healthy. No one's gonna get sick or anything. But if they give us the green light to play, then we want to definitely play.
Yeah, it's one of those things that when I was talking to Jerry the other day, it's like, safety's got to be the first and foremost thing. But we're
Yeah,
also, like you said, it's like sports can be such a uniting thing. I think like when that day comes and we're able to watch something, whatever format that may be in, I think that's going to do a lot of good. Even if it's
yeah,
just for people's spirits and mindsets, just to kind of see that
yeah,
come back. But yeah, we can't do anything if it's not going to be safe. So
yeah, for sure.
I'm pulling for something. I miss watching it. I can imagine you miss playing it.
Yeah, absolutely.
So hopefully that day comes. Well, we'll open it up to questions now. If anybody wants to shoot some questions in the comments, please feel free. We'll spend a few more minutes with Hunter before we let him go. While we're waiting to see if anybody sends any in, I had a few questions that were sent to me beforehand. I'll ask you those before we head out.
Okay.
So nickname, Bulldozer, is that the right one? Where did that
I get.
start? That's a perfect one if that's the right one. I'm curious of the origin of that.
Yeah, so for me, that was always my brother's nickname. He was, he's a lot bigger than me. He's an offensive lineman. He was an offensive lineman in high school, so that's kind of what people called him. But then he stopped playing sports after high school, and then no one ever called me that until I got into pro ball. And yeah, I think people just started saying it, and then when I got called up, I think the social media team started playing along with it too, and it
Right.
just kind of. I think the fans seem to like it, so yeah,
It's perfect. It fits
yeah,
perfectly for you. So
yeah,
I figured that was the correct nickname when I saw it. So I fully endorse that one. Right.
yeah,
Other question. This is a good one. Like because we were talking about how you kind of stay in shape. You got access to a hitting facility and you got some resources there. Let's say we got some young baseball players that are listening in on this that don't really have that, right? That maybe don't have somewhere they could go work out or hit right now. Any like advice, any exercises you can kind of recommend, whether it's, I don't know, body weight stuff or throwing, anything they can do while they're just at home that can kind of help keep them in shape throughout this?
yeah. I mean, I think the biggest thing right now is and what I see it in my neighborhood is people are getting sick of staying inside. So I'm seeing more people like ride their bikes, go on walks
Right.
than I ever have before. So I think for me, it's just like for kids, just get outside and play basketball, move around. If you have a net and a little tee, hit outside or play wiffle ball. There's always body weight stuff like push-ups, squats. You can run and stuff, but for me, if I'm a kid at this time, I would be living outside, just
Yeah.
playing with my buddies, running around the neighborhood, just enjoying it. Something that I did when I was a kid growing up, and then you didn't really see it as much anymore because I don't know, video games or stuff like that. But I'm seeing it a lot more, which is kind of cool.
Yeah. Stay active, kind of like we said. It
Yeah,
doesn't have to be baseball specific activity,
yeah. Just
right?
keep
Yeah.
moving and having fun.
Yeah. Getting off the couch whenever you can. Couple more questions. What was it like in Kansas City when the Chiefs won the Super Bowl? Was that nuts? Were you in town when all that went down?
No, so that was in our off season. So I was here in Texas,
Okay.
but I watched all of it, and
You know those
I mean
guys?
it. Yeah, so they like Mahomes and Kelsey. They come to quite a few baseball games. So we see them in the locker room every now and then. So it's just, I mean, the way Royals Chiefs fans, I mean, they're unreal, and the way they support us and support the Chiefs. It was really cool to see the Chiefs won the Super Bowl, and I had a lot of fun watching it.
Right. You guys are next, right?
Oh
So,
yeah, yeah, that's the
yeah,
goal.
I imagine. All right, I got one more. What's your game day ritual look like? Do you do this? Are you the kind of guy that's same thing every day? I'm eating the same pregame meal. I got my lucky underwear on, all that kind of good stuff. Or is it for you? It's just not, it's laid back. It's just another day. It's not too different than the other. Like, which way do you lean on that?
Yeah, I don't have any like superstitions or anything. It's more of like a routine. So like I get to the park around like 12:30, have lunch. And then if it's a workout day, I go work out and then do some training room stuff, go hit in the cage, watch video, study the pitcher, and then get ready, probably grab something to eat again, get ready to go out to BP, do the whole BP routine, come in. You normally have like an hour, hour and a half before the game, so you get some more food, shower, just kind of chill,
Right.
and then start getting ready, start getting your body ready to go play a game. But no, I've never been a superstitious guy because I feel like that would wear on me. Like if
We
if
got
I'm going
enough stuff to worry about without that.
exactly, yeah. So
Yeah.
I kind of just go with it, and just kind of worry about the routine.
Right. Okay. Those are all the questions I had. There's one that just came in, and so one more chance for anybody that wants to ask a question for Hunter. Please send it our way before we let him go. But this is a good one. Any pitchers that you don't like facing? Right? Anybody that got your number, or on the other side of the coin, anybody that you like going up against? I don't want to throw any guys under the bus, right? But anybody that you fear, and anybody that you're happy with when you see them.
Um, I mean, there's so many good pitchers these days. I mean, they're all really good and tough to hit. Um, I'm not going to say any names for the guys I like facing, but the guys, I mean, that are tough.
Yes.
I mean, there's so many guys that are tough that it's just like it's a battle every night when they're pitching. Like Garrett Cole, he's first one to come to mind. He's always tough to hit. I mean, Verlander, Morton. I mean, there's so many guys. Giolito, he was tough on us this year. Yeah, I mean, I could just keep going. There's so many good pitchers now.
Oh yeah, it's tough. Well, it's the only sport where you fail like 70% of the time, and you're actually doing well, right? So,
Yeah, seven. If you go 3 for 10, you're a Hall of Famer.
Giolito is actually one of our OMIA advisory board members, so I'll let him know that he has your number when I see him next time.
Yeah, well, we faced him a lot this year, and I got him a couple times, but he got me more.
Right?
He pitched against us really well. He
Yeah,
did really well against us.
he's
Yeah,
he's having a strong young career as well.
yeah.
Who's the funniest teammate, and who's the class clown in the clubhouse?
Probably Danny Duffy. I mean, he's even now he'll send us some funny texts, keeping us laughing. He plays some really funny music. He's always having us laughing and keeping us light.
Right. Every team's got one, right? You
Yeah.
gotta have it. So,
Oh
well,
yeah.
perfect, man. Hunter, man, thanks for the time. We've learned a lot about you. I know I've gotten to know you a little bit more, which is cool. And I look forward to kind of hanging out again whenever this season stuff gets going. In the meantime, everybody stay safe and well. And just so you guys want to learn more about the way Hunter and I are connected, you guys can check out our social media stuff at the THF. You can go to allmeleague.com or taylorhooten.org. You can kind of learn more about the education that we do about appearance and performance enhancing substances. You can also learn more about guys like Hunter that are backing this message and getting that education out there and really having a positive impact and having a positive conversation with being the role model that they are. So, Hunter, congrats on everything, all the success. Thanks again for being part of this team and for hanging out with us today, man. We really appreciate the time.
Yeah, no problem. I appreciate it.
All right. Take it easy, Hunter. We'll see you down the
All
road.
right. All
Thanks,
right. Bye.
everybody.